Right, welcome to my next predictions video. It's a small fight night, this one, and as far as I'm concerned, it's another one of those cards, isn't it? It is being held in the US, but it's still one of these cards that is possibly much of a muchness, really. Its title fight, its headlining fight, it's not a title fight, is Yoel Romeiro and Lyoto Machida, who I think is almost certainly going to win this one. It's funny because statistically 89% on their feet for Yoel, whereas it's only 41% for Lyoto. But we all know just what Lyoto can do on the feet. Lyoto is one of these people who I actually have a lot of respect for, because he responds to criticism, I suppose, and changes his game. You know, a long time ago he was known for being, exceptional on the feet, but he was the sort of person who would spend, 90% of the round doing nothing. He would dance around, he would do absolutely nothing. And he'd perhaps connect about 2 or 3 times and, get the knockout and win. And whilst he was very successful, he was also incredibly boring. And that sort of came up again and again and again. And he actually sort of changed things up a little bit, so he was far more exciting. And I think just as capable and just as winning as he was before. So it shows that one can be good and trained in one particular sort of discipline, but also be exciting as well. So anyway, his record is 22-6, whereas Yoel is only 9-1. It's the experience factor here that I think will get Lyoto the win more than anything. If Yoel does manage to beat Lyoto here, this is a big thing for him. So we'll see, but I expect his record to be 9-2 by the end of that night. The next fight is Santiago Ponzinibbio and Lorenz Larkin. And we've got 21-2 versus 15-4. Lorenz Larkin I know a little bit about. Santiago, I recognise the name, but I don't know very much about him, I'm afraid. It's almost certain to be a war on their feet, this one, although Santiago, according to this statistically, is more well-rounded. But I am going to give this one to Lorenz Larkin, I would imagine. Antonio Carlos Jr. is fighting Eddie Gordon, 5-1 versus 8-3. And this is going to be groundsman versus striker, with Eddie Gordon being the striker. Now it's funny because, again, if you look at the statistics here, when it comes to submissions, it's 80-13, and that's to Antonio. But if you look at their records on the feet, 38-0 to Eddie Gordon. So the thing is, if Eddie Gordon can keep this on the feet, he stands a much better chance of winning, just sort of by decision. But I personally think this is probably going to be an Antonio Carlos winning that one. The next one, Thiago Santos and Steve Boss, 10-1 for Steve Boss, 10-3 for Thiago. And Steve Boss doesn't have any statistics, so I don't know about that. Whereas Thiago seems to be very good on the feet. Don't know that one at all. I'll go with Thiago Santos, but as I say, not knowing anything about Steve Boss and not being able to know anything through this this medium, I'm only looking, remember, at the UFC statistics for the matches that are not championship events, because this is only predictions in brief, and I haven't got time to do everything properly with the way that they've saturated the market. Hakron Diaz is fighting Levan Makashvili. Hakron Diaz, according to this, is seeded number 13, whereas Levan isn't seeded at all. And he's either wins on the feet or it goes to decision. Whereas Akron Diaz is more sort of well-rounded, 18%, 36%, 45%, stand-up, submission and decision, in that order. I think more than anything, again, it will be his experience that wins him this one on that fight. Alex Oliveira is fighting Joe Merritt. Merritt is apparently a perfect record of 6 with 100% scores on their feet, whereas Alex is 73% stand-up, 18% ground. So at least there's this possibility that if he actually cannot hang on his feet with Joe Merritt, he can possibly take him down and and win there. But again, this is one of those things where you're hesitant to say it's a squash match because you don't know anything about Joe Merritt at all, and for all we know, those 6 people are incredible calibers. But I don't know if I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think I might go for Alex on that one instead. Leandro Silva and Luis Gonzalez, 10-1 for Luis versus 17-2. This one could be a ground game with 59% and 50%, but they also it's probably going to be a ground game that ends in a decision. And again, I think I'll probably go for Leandro Silva rather than the one I know less about. And the last match on the card, Steve Montgomery and Tony Sims, 8-2 versus 9-2, and this is definitely a stand-up war, 63%, 78%. The question is, who do I go for? Neither of them even have a picture. But with a name like the Creepy Weasel, going to Steve Montgomery, how could I not choose somebody with that as their nickname? And that is my predictions video.